Hey guys, so I was just walking around in my world and I came across a tree. Let's go mine this tree. Oh no, what's going on? Oh yeah, blah blah blah. Me acting surprised like I don't know what's happening. Okay, so I got a suggestion recently to recreate this data pack that recreate this plugin into a data pack that Dream made called where he basically turned blocks that required air. Like he basically every block act like sand. He gave gravity to every block. So if there's like a little overhang, then that block will fall down, which can get pretty annoying to play. But you can play around with it. It's kind of like a survival challenge. It's one of those Minecraft butts, right? But yeah, so now it works exactly how he had it. And oh my goodness, the lag. I tried to reduce lag. If it's multiplayer, it won't like have bugs. Like I created some fixes, but I'll go over how the pack works later so that the people that only want to play with it can play with it. So yeah, if there's a cave, the cave is literally gone, and this does some pretty insane stuff to your world. So you can just be walking around and all of a sudden, stuff is starting to fall. So this could be an interesting challenge. If you haven't seen his video, go check it out. This is based off of his. I don't want to like encroach on his people that would go to Patreon simply to get his plugin, but plugins are not user friendly. Data packs are easier to just give to everybody. So what you have to do to install it is you go to the link in the description, you go to your world save, you go into your world save and you click on data packs, and then you drag the .zip into here. It'll just be a .zip. It will not say unzip me. Just throw the zip in there. I don't intend you to touch any of the rest of it. And then when you type reload while in your world, it will come up with some messages. Not this message. It will come up with something more user-friendly to let you know what's up. But yeah, so it's pretty crazy. I'm glad that it was able to work and I was able to make it happen in so quickly. So I'll go over how it works now. But yeah, if you guys think this is cool or want me to keep doing this, let me know if there's any that you want to see. I'm not going to make one unless somebody asks me to make one, just because I know that he has like a Patreon and stuff. I don't want to take people away from him, but I do actually enjoy as a challenge like recreating these things because they're simple to me, but they are still a bit complicated, so they're like at just the right difficulty level most of the time for me to be like, oh, I can make that quickly, but it does require some special knowledge. Anyways, if you think this is cool, leave a like, maybe stick around to see the description of how it works, and I'll see you next time. So for those of you that stayed, the block gravity data pack is pretty simple once you know some things that I have used before. So I have this data pack called the it's called the block serializer, and it allows me to turn one block, like a sand block, from a block into an ID, and then it lets me turn that block from an ID into a falling sand property, a storage element, some imaginary thing. And this is really cool because it makes it work for everything. Even this, you see that? Boom, works just fine. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that it's able to transfer these just well in every rotation. I used like an external program to build it. So once we have this thing that can turn any block into a falling sand essentially, and that previous video doesn't go over the falling sand aspect, but that's why I have a changelog here that tells you about it. It saves it to a certain location, and you can take a look at what it gives you as the output. It's just I added 2 more functions to allow this to happen. So then all we have to do is we have to now go to every block, see if it works. So I have another video that is called the block scan, and the block scan essentially gives you a set of functions that will traverse an area of unknown size and figure out, do something to every block in that area. So you have to set up a setting for the scan radius, and this one I do 11 blocks, which means it's 11 by 11 by 11 cube who's centered at the player. So there's these set of functions that I created that basically scan variably using recursion to do it all in one tick real quick. But all that matters is at trav x, this is what is happening to every block. Initially, this is just setting things up. Trav x is what's happening to every block. So at every block, we're going to see, don't do it if it's air because we don't care about air, that's not going to fall. Check if the block beneath it is air, okay? Then if it's air, convert it. Also, check if the block beneath it is cave air, because there's another block called cave air that is the air inside a cave, and convert it if it's cave air. So in the convert function reads what block it is. So it turns this block into a number, and then it sets the block to air because we've already saved it, we've remembered it. And if I go scoreboard to sidebar BSC, you will see 9 on the side because this grass block is ID of 9. So then if there is an ID on it, just in case, then revert. So revert is going to, and I don't need that anymore. So revert is going to get data, and get data is the new thing I added, which will return a storage element thing that says all the stuff you need to turn it into a falling sand. So we summon a falling sand at a place outside of our loaded chunks. Then we mess with that falling sand's block to turn it into the block on the storage element. And since it's outside our loaded chunks, then it will actually visually update. This is a common bug that most people don't think exists, and I've had people even be like, why are you doing that? But like, or like, you know, whatever. But basically, if I summon a falling sand and I change what block it is before it hits the ground, then visually it will still look like sand unless it's outside your loaded chunks. So I put it into a force loaded chunk, change the block state, then TP it back to where you're at, and remove the tag because we don't care about that one anymore. So all those things combined, it basically just goes to every block, figures out what block it is, turns it into sand, and boom, you're done. Bip's your Bob, Bob's your uncle, whatever the hell you say. And then the only thing I added is, since it takes 6,000 to 30,000 commands to run this whole thing, I'm just saying, like, if there was somehow a huge chunk in the air, you don't want it happening all the time. So I give it a slower tick function that is at 20 tick speed, so it only updates once every second, and once every second it figures out how many players there are, and then for each player it runs one of these scanners, but once per tick. So if you have 20 players, then the system is basically just going to start to break down because it's going to be running once every tick. But if you have 2 players, then it will technically run twice every 20 ticks. So it'll run once every 20 ticks, and then right after that one time it runs at the next tick. That way you're not doing at A and then it does more than the max command block limit. So that's pretty much everything, and all in all, it just does that, and it turns things really nicely into falling sand to give you maybe some kind of a challenge. Let's just run over here, see what happens, and it all turns into sand. Another feature that was important for this system was that the scanner function works from bottom to top. So that was one thing that really made me want to choose the scanner that I used before, because it scans from the bottom corner of the player's area to the top corner. If you did top to bottom, then when you turn one block, it would take multiple ticks to get everything, because if you go bottom to top, then the bottom ones are turning to air, so when you get to the upper ones, then it knows those are hanging. So that's how we can have these 2 blocks stacked on top of each other, both turn into the proper thing. If you did top to bottom, it would just get the bottom one on the first one, and then it would get the top one. So they all go at the same time because I scanned from bottom to top. So that's pretty much as informative as I want it to be. It's really simple to make once you have a thing that can turn any block into a data and a thing that can scan an area. Other than that, guys, I have a ton of stuff, so I don't even know when this video is going to go out. It might come out sooner than those other things. I've got how to build an adventure map coming back. I got another thing using my block serializer, because as much as people say that it's not really useful, I can use it anywhere. It's incredibly powerful. But I have a very cool kind of my version of like what Bling Edit does, but with its own feature to transfer between worlds. So I've got that coming out, super efficient, super fast. Yeah, so sorry about that. I had to cut really quickly to fix something. It was just that cave air guy. I have to make sure that it doesn't, because apparently cave air is an actual block, so I have to make sure it doesn't turn cave air, because it's really just supposed to be air, but it has an ID. I don't know why they did that, but anyways, yeah, I fixed that. So there was like a small bug, and it was turning cave air into falling blocks, which doesn't make sense. But other than that, I would love to see any videos somebody makes trying to play through using this. You can actually make it even more realistic. This is a side note. You can make it more realistic or better by, if you have a better computer and you're willing to do this, where you just change the setting from 11 to a bigger value, but don't go more than like 20, because that's where you're going to start to lag. And usually an odd number is going to be better because then it's centered. So I would say up to 15 would start making it look really good, but it might start lagging your computer. It just depends on your specs. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Got any suggestions? Got anything you want to show me? Let me know, and I'll see you next time. Peace.